U.S. Congressman Riley Moore spotlights horrific violence against Christians in Nigeria's Benue state. In a poignant social media post on December 10, 2025, U.S. Congressman Riley Moore, RWV, detailed his recent visit to internally displaced persons (IDP) camps in Benue State, Nigeria, where he met with survivors of what he described as genocidal attacks by Fulani militants. Moore, a member of the U.S. House Appropriations Committee, shared harrowing personal testimonies from displaced Christians, highlighting a crisis that has forced over 600,000 people into camps in Benue alone. His account has reignited international calls for attention to the ongoing violence in Nigeria's Middle Belt region, amid accusations of government inaction. During the visit, Moore recounted meeting dozens of victims who had been driven from their homes by brutal assaults. One woman described watching her husband and 5 children being killed, escaping only with her unborn child. Another survivor spoke of her family being murdered before her eyes, with her baby violently ripped from her womb. A man shared how his family was hacked to death in front of him, leaving him with a permanently mangled arm. These stories, Moore emphasized, would remain with me for the rest of my life, underscoring the human toll of the conflict. The congressman's post, which included photos of him engaging with camp residents and local clergy under shaded trees, quickly garnered significant engagement on X, formerly Twitter, amassing over 10,000 likes and thousands of reposts within hours. Reactions ranged from gratitude to calls for broader intervention. One user, Stephen Osemwegi, thanked Moore for raising awareness, contrasting it with a 2025 incident where Nigerian opposition leader Peter Obi was reportedly prevented from visiting similar camps. Others shared personal anecdotes, like a story from a survivor's friend in Benue who lost multiple family members in a village attack. Moore's trip was part of a U.S. delegation's fact-finding mission, during which they met with Catholic bishops and the traditional ruler of the Tiv people, the predominant ethnic group in Benue. He reiterated his support for these communities, stating that Christians should be able to live in their ancestral homeland without fear of genocidal Fulani. The violence in Benue, often framed as farmer-herder clashes, has been ongoing for years, with rights groups accusing Fulani militants of targeted attacks on Christian farming communities. Reports indicate thousands of deaths and widespread displacement, exacerbating humanitarian needs in the region. Nigerian media outlets have covered the visit extensively, with Punch newspaper reporting that Moore sought global attention to the IDP crisis, sharing survivor accounts to emphasize the urgency. A YouTube segment from Arise News detailed high-level meetings with Tiv and Christian leaders, where Moore restated U.S. commitment to addressing the issue. However, the visit has not been without controversy. The Muslim Public Affairs Center, MPAC, criticized the delegation for what they called biased consultations, arguing that the group focused solely on Christian perspectives without engaging Muslim stakeholders, potentially exacerbating religious tensions. Skeptics on social media questioned the scale of the displacement, with one ex-user asking if the Benue state government had verified the 600,000 figure. Others accused Nigerian leaders of neglecting the crisis, pointing out that President Bola Tinubu has not visited IDP camps, while a foreign lawmaker like Moore made the journey. Benue's governor, Reverend Hyacinth Aliyah, has previously denied claims of a Christian genocide, a stance that drew criticism in light of Moore's findings. This spotlight comes amid broader international concerns about religious persecution in Nigeria. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly warned about the mass killings of Christians by Islamic terrorists, threatening military action if the Nigerian government fails to act. Moore's visit aligns with U.S. efforts to monitor such issues, as evidenced by his positive assessment of bilateral relations in a separate statement, noting progress under Tinubu's emergency declaration on security. Advocates hope Moore's exposure will prompt greater aid and diplomatic pressure. As one ex-user pleaded, referencing a captive pastor's family, "Please help beg Nigeria government to rescue the old woman and her daughter." With violence showing no signs of abating, recent reports include an eye-swap attack on Nigerian troops in Borno State. The crisis in Benue underscores the urgent need for both domestic and global intervention to protect vulnerable communities and restore peace.